In the heart of Obudu, a vibrant village nestled among Nigeria's rolling hills, lived the Makandi family. Once known for their wealth and power, they had become infamous for their moral decay. Chief Makandi, the head of the household, was a man of many contradictions, wealthy but corrupt, influential but feared, and deeply respected yet loathed. His household was built on lies, deceit, and a dangerous hunger for power. His children mirrored his ways, and soon, the Makandi name became synonymous with scandal. Chief Makandi amassed his fortune through dubious means. He took bribes, manipulated the poor, and used his connections to suppress justice. His wife, Madame Ifeoma, once a humble and virtuous woman, had been seduced by the luxury that came with his wealth. She turned a blind eye to his indiscretions, focusing on lavish parties and extravagant jewelry. The villagers whispered about the Makandis, but fear kept them silent. The chief's 3 sons, Chike, Obinna, and Ikini, had inherited their father's love for money and deceit. Chike, the eldest, was a notorious womanizer, leaving a trail of broken hearts and abandoned children. Obinna was a cunning businessman, exploiting the less privileged for personal gain. Ikine, the youngest, indulged in fraud, swindling the elderly out of their savings. Each of them had been given every opportunity to succeed, but they chose the easy path of immorality. The Makandi daughters, Nika and Adana, were no better. Raised in a home where dishonesty was a norm, they learned to manipulate men for wealth. Nika was known for seducing married men, wrecking homes without remorse. Adana, on the other hand, was a mistress to a powerful politician, living in luxury while ignoring the suffering of her people. Their beauty was undeniable, but their hearts were as cold as stone. The elders often spoke of a curse that befell families who built their wealth on wickedness. The land never forgets, they would say. The Makandis laughed at such superstitions, convinced that money and influence could shield them from any consequences. However, the winds of fate had begun to shift. Dark clouds loomed over the family, and soon their empire would begin to crumble. Chike, drunk on his own arrogance, made a fatal mistake. He seduced the wife of a powerful herbalist, ignoring warnings of dire consequences. One evening, he fell ill, his body burning with fever. No doctor could explain his ailment. His once handsome face became disfigured, and within weeks, he was unrecognizable. The man who once mocked the poor now lived in seclusion, abandoned by the very women he had deceived.
Obinna, always scheming, entered into a corrupt deal with foreign investors to exploit local farmers. He promised them wealth but left them in ruins. One fateful day, an angry mob, led by the very farmers he deceived, stormed his mansion. They stripped him of everything: his cars, his houses, his dignity. He fled to the city, a broken man, begging for the very food he once denied others. Ikine believed himself untouchable, but his fraud was finally exposed. The police raided his office, uncovering years of financial crimes. Betrayed by his own business partners, he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The young man who once walked with pride now spent his days in a tiny cell, reflecting on the choices that led him there. Neka's beauty faded with time, and the rich men who once adored her moved on to younger women. Left with nothing, she wandered the streets, seeking love in places where none existed. Adana's politician lover was arrested for corruption, leaving her homeless and disgraced. The sisters who once flaunted their wealth now scavenged for survival. Madame Ifeoma watched as her once proud children fell one by one. The same community she once looked down upon now refused to help her. Her lavish parties were forgotten, her friends nowhere to be found. She sat in her empty mansion, surrounded by ghosts of her past mistakes, wondering if she could have changed their fate. Chief Makandi, once the most feared man in Obudu, became a shell of his former self. His health deteriorated, and he was left alone, abandoned by the very children he had spoiled. The man who once controlled the village now needed help to eat, to walk, to live. Regret weighed heavily on his soul, but it was too late to undo the damage. The Makandi name, once powerful, became a cautionary tale. Parents warned their children, "Do not follow the path of the Makandis, for wealth without virtue is like a house built on sand." Their legacy of corruption, deception, and immorality had led to their own destruction. The villagers, once envious of the Makandis, now pitied them. They realized that true wealth was not in money, but in integrity, kindness, and community. They rebuilt their traditions, prioritizing honesty and hard work over shortcuts and deception. Among the ruins of the Makandi Empire, a new generation emerged. Young men and women, having witnessed the fall of a corrupt dynasty, chose a different path. They embraced education, fairness, and the wisdom of their elders. The cycle of immorality was finally broken. Despite their past, some of the Makandi children sought redemption. Chike, humbled by his affliction, became a preacher, warning others against his former lifestyle. Obinna, once a greedy businessman, started a foundation for the poor. Their past could not be erased, but their future could still be rewritten. On his deathbed, Chief Makandi whispered his final words to the village priest. "I built my home on sand, and the storm has washed it away. Teach the young ones to build on rock." With that, he breathed his last, his empire reduced to dust. The tale of the Makandi family became a lesson for generations. It reminded people that no amount of wealth could buy peace, and that power without morality was a ticking time bomb. The elders ensured that their story was passed down, a warning against the dangers of unchecked greed. True family strength lay not in riches, but in unity, respect, and love. The villagers re-emphasized the importance of raising children with discipline, teaching them the value of hard work, and instilling a sense of responsibility. With time, the village flourished once more, but this time with honesty at its core. The lesson of the Makandis was forever etched in the hearts of the people, proof that wisdom and integrity outlast even the grandest empires. Years later, a wise elder told the story of the Makandis to eager children under the moonlit sky. "Their wealth could not save them, but their mistakes saved us," he said. And so, the village thrived, not on corruption, but on the strength of character, knowing that true riches lay not in gold, but in the goodness of one's soul.